What is up, people? Kamikaze here, and I figured this time I'd do a little something different. I'm going to give you a little tour of what my gaming collection is, because it has definitely grown since the last time I've even done a video, even before when I did my first video. But I also think I'm going to do a little twist, and what we're going to do is we're going to give my own perspective on each console that I have and the games that I have. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I got. Okay, first and foremost, we have the system for me that started it all, and there's no introduction needed for this, but this is definitely the Nintendo Entertainment System. How much do I love this system? This was honestly the first system that I remember having, and it has got some classic games, it's got some bad games on there, but you know what? It doesn't even matter to me, because it seems that it's one of those video game systems that regardless of whether you're collecting or whether or not for nostalgic purposes, it always has a great deal of games. Like, tell me, how can you go wrong? Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, the package game, come on. Then you got such classics, you got like Super Mario Brothers 3, right? You got Contra. And so many more games. You got Legend of Zelda, you got the Mega Man series, you got Final Fantasy, you got so many good games that are on this system. This game, though, however, I don't care what anybody says, has a special place in my heart, but you know what? I like it. Even though, yes, it's by that company, LJN, and they get a bad rep, but you know what? Doesn't matter. This was a juggernaut in my household. I couldn't even tell you how many countless hours that I've had playing this game, or playing this system. Playing track and field in the middle of the night, you know, parents are asleep, so therefore, I was just in my room playing, you know, running on the power pad and that sort of thing. But you know what? This is definitely one of the best systems that I've ever had, and still one of the best ones that I own. And I recently just started getting into repros, so therefore I got Sweet Home, which was never released in the United States. So therefore, I had to get a reproduction sent from Japan all the way to here. Next up, we've got one of the systems that I think was underrated, in my opinion, but you know what? It was a damn good one, too. We had the PlayStation 3. And by the way, if you notice, I'm going from one set of shelf to the next set of shelf. So, the PlayStation 3. Very good system, but surprisingly didn't utilize the hand motion controllers as much as I thought it was. But you know what? This system right here was actually the first one that I remember where me and my buddy from when we were kids, you know, because I got this when I was in my 20s, and I also got the late version of it because I was like really far behind when it came to generation of gaming. But this right here was honestly one system that I could tell you that I've spent the most hours on. Beyond the PS4, the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, this system right here is the one I spent the most hours on. Because when it comes to games like God of War, or you have the Killzone, you have Resident Evil, you have Lollipop Chainsaw, the Metal Gear Solid series. All of these were just juggernauts of games that I fell in love with, and this was basically my rejuvenation of what I fell in love with gaming. Because, like, when the Batman, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Batman Arkham Origins was the first game I ever went to on a midnight release. First one. And I know it's like not a big deal, it's like, oh, it's Arkham Origins, whatever. But you know what? This one right here was the one game that I was like aching to play. Because I didn't get into the Batman series until later. But found out that Arkham Origins was coming out, I had to get it. Therefore, that was the very first game that I ever went to have a midnight release at. And you know what? I'm happy with it. Get ready to have your balls blown off, because right here we've got the Nintendo 64. That's right, the Nintendo 64. Now here the thing is, with this one, I actually haven't owned one in like almost, I think, ever. Because when I had a Nintendo 64, my brother had it, but the thing is that I had a PlayStation, so he bought this on his own money. And he had games like, what was it, GoldenEye, WrestleMania 2000, Shadow Man, things like that. I think BioFreaks was another one that he had, but yet again, this Nintendo 64 I didn't get into until much later, for the most part, at least for me, because it had like a lot of good games that I don't know why, but I wasn't too interested in it because it was a Nintendo and it had like the weird controller. But you know what? I am totally glad that I finally picked one up, and then I was able to get like, the kind of games I want, like, No Mercy. Then we have Super Mario 64. You have Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the juggernaut of Nintendo 64 games. My opinion, the better one between that Majora's Mask. But hey, here or there, it's opinions. But this game right here, 007 GoldenEye, I don't care what anybody says. This is hands down the best, and I mean the best first-person shooter game of all time. Don't care who you are, right? You have your opinion, I have mine. But you know what? This one, countless hours, and I mean countless hours of just playing this game. You know what? I miss those times. Those times were actually really cool because, like I said, with my buddy, we used to just play multiplayer all the time. Like, it was that good. And then you have like Perfect Dark, you have Turok. Those games actually do need to pick up, but at least right now, with the collection that I have, it's all right, but it does need to grow. Now we have, I think, arguably my favorite console of all time. I think so. That would be the Super Nintendo. Now, with the Super Nintendo, when I got that, because I remember the day I got it, it was like one of those, oh my god, I got a Super Nintendo. And the cool thing is, with the way it worked with me and my neighbor, like I said, my good buddy, we didn't go through the console wars, because he had a Sega Genesis, I had a Super Nintendo, so therefore anytime I wanted to play Sega, I'd go over to his house. If he wanted to play Super Nintendo, he'd come over to my house. We did not experience the console wars, and it was glorious. Everyone was saying like, oh, Super Nintendo better. Oh, Sega's better. Don't matter to me, because I had the best of both worlds. We were like best friends, so therefore, oh well, I had this, he had that. Amazing. But there were so many classics and so many good games that I remember playing. We had Sunset Riders, we had Contra 3, we had Final Fight 2. Games like Castlevania, I only recently got into the series, and you know what? I feel bad that I didn't. But then, like the Mortal Kombat series, I know, understandably, the game's censored on the first game, but you know what? The second game definitely rectified that situation, and I am very, very happy that I'm able to find a bunch of these games for pretty cheap. But the console itself was actually more expensive. It's actually more rare to find because I don't know why. I guess a lot of people are like collectors or like people who like the nostalgic trip. They've been buying them, so I had to get a Retron that just plays strictly Super Nintendo games, but also plays Super Famicom games. So therefore, I guess I got lucky and found one for really cheap. So therefore, that's how I play my Super Nintendo games. Now we have that big wooden box, and I can't go any further back than this, at least when it comes to my memory. The Atari 2600. Now, say what you will, very primitive, very basic, but you know what? The system still brings back memories. I remember playing River Raid with my friends and just enjoying this. I remember that my mother's friend had the Jungle Hunt arcade, and we used to play that for like hours. And I remember that also my buddy had a Jungle Hunt for the Atari. We never had it, but it was back when we had the Nintendo, he had the Atari, so therefore we used to play like, again, we used to switch back and forth. So the Atari is like very basic. If you're looking for like to collect something like that, I definitely try to recommend getting games that are more of the common side. I mean, you can't get any more basic than like Combat, because that came like packed with every system. So therefore, but they do have a lot of rare and obscure titles that are on the system. Like over here, I got Porky's, right? And I totally did that upside down. But they have Porky's, which very, very weird to find. Very definitely obscure title. But you know what? The only reason I got that was because of AVGN, and I liked the movie, so therefore I wanted to give it a shot and check it out. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say about the Atari other than can't get any more retro than that. Moving on to modern consoles. Now I got the PS4. To me, PS4 I like better than the Xbox One. It's only because really I grew up more of a PlayStation guy. However, I'm still a gamer, so therefore, you know, I just really like PlayStation better. Now, the one thing I like about PS4 is that it's got like a lot of good it's got a lot of good titles on there that the Xbox doesn't have. Like you still have God of War, you still have Medieval, you still have The Last of Us. Until I think Until Dawn was only on PlayStation. I could be wrong on that, but still, this had some games on there that just bring back some good memories of just like when me and my friend would play PlayStation, like just even like whether it be PlayStation 1, 2, 3, or 4. But he was more of an Xbox gamer, so you know. But for a good so far last gen console, because PS5 is going to be on its way out, this is actually a good good one. Definitely a good system, and hoping to hang on to it, because I would consider it one of my favorites for now. All hail the mighty PS1 right here. Yes, PS1. This is the first console that I remember that I got for Christmas and was not even expecting it, because I didn't ask for this. I don't even remember what it was. I think I just wanted I wanted a Sega Saturn, or what was it? Nintendo 64 at the time. But you know what? I got the PlayStation, and the PlayStation 1 had some of the greatest games I've ever played, and it also introduced me to my favorite game series of all time, Resident Evil. So therefore, I have so many good memories. Arguably, and I do mean arguably, one of the best systems ever made. But like I said before, that I think the Super Nintendo was my favorite of all time. But yet again, I cannot deny the amount of gems that are on this system. I mean, come on, this alone, Final Fantasy VII, yeah, that alone puts it up there with one of the best consoles ever made, because you have Final Fantasy, you've got Crash Bandicoot, you've got Spyro, you've got games like Parasite, you've got Twisted Metal, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 too. You got Soul Blade, you got there's so many games to pick from that are just such great ones. I mean, good underrated one, if you ever want to check it out, Wild 9. It is definitely goofy, but you know what? The soundtrack too is amazing if you play it on a CD player. Such a good one by Tom Pellico. But yeah, there's so many good memories and so many good games that are on this system, and I couldn't even tell you. Like the amount of parties I've had just playing this. You get that like multi-adapter controller, and you get like 4 people playing Twisted Metal too. That's a lot of fun. But these are starting to get hiked up in price, like Parasite Eve here, right? This game was actually one of the first RPG I've ever played that I remember, and this game actually went up to like I think $70-something, right? So therefore, I got lucky when it came to that. And surprisingly, the first 5 games I ever owned on the system, I only owned 4 out of the 5, and I don't know what happened, but apparently Tekken 3 is missing. But the first games I owned were Cardinal Sin, Parasite Eve, Twisted Metal 3, Tekken 3, and Soul Blade, which, to me, this one was better than the arcade. That's pretty crazy to say. But yeah. And also, I think this console was the one that really introduced me to 3D fighters, kind of like Mortal Kombat 4 and Tekken 3 and Soul Blade. Therefore, definitely a juggernaut of a console. Now we've got one of the all-time like multiplayer consoles that is out there, and I can't even deny that. As much as I'm a PlayStation guy, can't deny on what the Xbox 360 does. You got Halo, you got Halo 3, you got Halo Reach, Halo 4, Left 4 Dead. You got the Gears of War series. Like, seriously, this one was the one that introduced me to online multiplayer as like such a community that it is. You know, whether it be, like I said, Call of Duty or the Halo. It's amazing on what this console alone has done for the industry. Now, when it comes to first-person shooters, if I had to choose between PS3 or Xbox 360, I'm choosing Xbox 360. It just felt better in my opinion. I don't know why. I can't really explain it, but it's one of those systems that I definitely liked a lot better when it came to first-person shooters. It's like many other games, personally, that I prefer the PlayStation controller. Anything first-person shooter, or even like Gears of War, I have to choose the Xbox 360 for that. And I couldn't tell you how many nights that I've spent playing Halo. And I'm surprised I don't have Halo. I thought I actually didn't have Halo Reach, but actually I'm glad I just looked that up. And yeah, now that I have it. Yeah, Fallout, had that. Oblivion, Skyrim, the Mass Effect series. I mean, I know those are cross-platform, but also I have to say that like a lot of the fighting games nowadays, definitely for the Xbox 360, because I have a fighter stick, and I don't know, it just feels better playing on a fighter stick on the Xbox 360 than it does the PS3. Now we are on to one of the systems that I didn't get into until I was much older in my life, the OG Xbox. Not the Xbox One, the OG Xbox, where you get classic titles like Halo, Halo 2, you've got Ninja Gaiden, you've got, let's see, what else do we got? This Crimson Sky, you got Morrowind, right? Third in the series when it comes to the Elder Scrolls. Now, like I said, I didn't get into Xbox until I was much older, but yet again, this collection right here is probably, I think this is where I have the most games. And it's because usually finding games like this is dirt cheap, but see, I didn't get into it until I was older, and I've been more appreciative on what the Xbox has to offer, because like Roller Coaster Tycoon, I didn't even know that that was even on it. I always played it on PC. Soul Calibur 2 right here, right? Soul Calibur 2, Spawn right there, right? You got Spawn. That's all I gotta say, Spawn, Soul Calibur 2. But this definitely, in my opinion, was a system that I should have looked at when I was younger, but unfortunately, like I said, I was into the PlayStation 2, and we didn't have enough money for an Xbox. I didn't really play the Xbox until 2006. And I tried it, I didn't like it at the time, but you know what, I'm like kind of kicking myself in the butt for that, because it's definitely a system that I overlooked, and I'm really happy now that I'm looking at it now, rather than down the road when it's if these ever just go up in price. Next up, we've got, I think, my second favorite system of all time, and the highest selling system of all time, the PlayStation 2. Now, the PlayStation 2, they brought me some great games. I actually owned all the games that I first got when I first got a PlayStation, which was Max Payne, Grand Theft Auto 3, and Onimusha. Now, Onimusha definitely considered to be the Resident Evil of like ancient Japan, but whatever. But still, you got great titles that came out. You got Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. You got God of War. You got the Grand Theft Auto Vice City, San Andreas. You got Silent Hill 4 that came out originally for that, not for the Xbox. Manhunt, and then you got the Bouncer and the Devil May Cry series. What more can I say? What more can I say about the PlayStation 2 that hasn't been said? Because this system is just, it's amazing. Because I remember the day that I got this when I was a kid. My brother and I were playing the absolute shit out of Grand Theft Auto. And then my mom was like, oh, you guys gotta go to school today. I said, we're not. We're absolutely not going. But yet again, still, what's more can be said? It's the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 2 is completely amazing. Now we're going into what I think is the most, and I mean the most underrated game system of all time, and that is the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, my collection's not that big, because now I've come to find out that a lot of prices have been going up with a lot of games, but I've actually been getting into repros, so therefore I can still get the game and get it for like dirt cheap, which is good, because I don't feel like spending like God knows how much money on like Resident Evil 2 for the Dreamcast when that's like, I don't know, like $80. Resident Evil 3 is like 100 and something. Last I checked on like LukiGames.com. But I can tell you that this system, it died way before it should have, because this is what introduced me to online play. Like hooking up your phone line to the Dreamcast just to play online, play games like Third Strike. I mean, it was so revolutionary, and it died before it even had a chance to be in its prime, and that's really sad, because the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox just took it right out, and it was so bad. I mean, I got to play games like, let's see, Kiss Psycho Circus, Zombies Revenge, The House of the Dead 2, on this home version, House of the Dead 2. And I remember just playing it with the GunCon when I was younger, and it was just such an awesome time just to play the arcade at home, because like you fully appreciate when you're playing when you're playing the arcade, and then you go home, and it's like, wow, this is a perfect port of the arcade that I was just at playing whatever game. Same thing with like with Soul Blade, like playing something actually Soul Blade was even better than the arcade in my version. The soundtrack was better, it wasn't as choppy, and it looked better. So therefore, yeah, like Zombies Revenge was another one that perfect port, perfect arcade port. And like I said, I'm still trying to build this one up, and it's going to take some time, but you know what? I'm going to build it up, and we're going to make this look amazing, because like I said, very underrated system and died before it should have. Alright, next up we got, people shit on this way too much, and I don't understand why, the Wii U. Right? What's the big deal? Wii U has got some like really good games that came out. Super Mario World 3D, Super Smash Bros, Super Mario Maker, which surprisingly I don't own. I actually had to pick that up. But I don't understand. Like, I got this like way into the Switch's life, so therefore, it's kind of weird that it just that people just couldn't get into it. I personally like it. I like the way the feel of the controller is. I like the way I can play it on the go. Granted, not like the Switch, but still, I really just enjoy like the comfort of it, the stylus and that sort of thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can actually do with the Nintendo Wii U, and not a lot of people appreciated it. But you know what? It's pretty good. It's not the greatest, granted, but it was a pretty good system. You know what? I like it, and it was actually really hard for me to find one, especially at a decent price. I actually was able to pick one up for $120 with all these games included. So, but I still need to build that library up while we're at it. Yeah, in due time, this will probably have every Wii U title. So I'm hoping that I can at least find it for cheap. All right, now we've got the Xbox One, and what's to say about the Xbox One? Like, nothing negative in my opinion. I actually think that the online activity is a lot better on Xbox One than it is in PS4. And remember, I'm more of a PlayStation guy, but still. Xbox One, nowadays, since the Xbox X Series is going to be coming out, like, games have just been getting like a lot cheaper, and I'm actually really happy about that, because like Game of Thrones, the Telltale games, Dishonored 2, those are actually like really cheap games. And the Devil May Cry series was also a pretty cheap one, which I'm actually happy about, because it's Devil May Cry. I mean, Dante, Virgil, there you go. That's all I have to say. But yeah, for modern consoles, this is probably more, to me, it was harder to find than the PS4, because I don't know why, but it took me months to replace my old Xbox One because it died, but then finally I was able to, and it took me so long to find it. I don't understand why it was so it was so hard to find, but it's whatever, But at least I got it fixed, and it's got some good games on it. Like I said, first-person shooters, when it comes to modern consoles, it's got to be the Xbox One. I don't know why, but PS4 just doesn't do it for me. And now we've got the almighty classic Sega Genesis. Sega Genesis. Like I said, back with the Super Nintendo, me and my buddies didn't go through the console war. I had a Sega, they had a Nintendo. I had a Nintendo, they had a Sega. So therefore, we got to play such classic games when we were kids. Still to this day, Streets of Rage 2, my favorite game of all time. I don't know why. The music was great. Everything was so responsive. It was just a fun game, especially for me playing as Max and just running through everybody like no tomorrow. It was just such an awesome title that I don't know why. The Streets of Rage series was always great, and then they came out with 4, and it blew expectations out of the water. Now, when it comes to Sega Genesis games, the best way to collect these is complete in box, or at least have the box with it, because loose carts over here, I've got one over here, and I got a couple down there, but they're really a huge pain in the ass to try and keep together, because I lost Eternal Champion somewhere when I was like just going through all this, and I was like, whoa, Eternal Champions, I thought I lost that, but luckily I didn't. So therefore I like to try to keep everything complete in box. I mean, if I can't do it, I can't do it, but this is like one of the prime examples of cheap things, complete in box. That and the PlayStation 2, or anything with like CD-based consoles. So like the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo Entertainment System, like Sega Master System, things like that, odds are you're not going to be able to. I mean, Sega Master System you're more than likely to, but like NES and SNES, you're not going to. It's really hard to do that, especially because that's going to cost you like a good arm and a leg. But if you want to try to have like a good Sega collection, or anything with like like a loose cartridge or a loose CD, make sure you get it complete in box. Like I said, there's times where you're not going to be able to. It's just not in the cards. But at least, you know, try to figure out, like, if you can get like a CD book, or just keep them like kind of close together when it comes to loose carts or loose CDs. Now we have the most modern game system that I've bought recently, the Nintendo Switch. One thing I do like about the Switch is that you can actually play a lot of retro games on it too. You can hook it up to your TV, you can take it with you on the go, whatever makes it easy for you. The only gripe that I do have, let's just take with Breath of the Wild, right, is how small these are. Yeah, I know the PS Vita is the same way, but like these are just like really easy to lose when it comes to those kind of things. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of that, but the system itself is amazing, right? I play the Switch at least once a week. I also think it's got, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, definitely in my opinion, but probably not the best Mario Kart game, but definitely better than the Wii U's Mario Kart game, excuse me. But the Switch, I also have to give credit that it can do a lot more than what even the Wii U can do, because you have like all this information on one little cart, rather than the Wii U had like a regular CD. And it's just incredible on like how Nintendo was able to put all that information, like Mortal Kombat 11, like you've seen on like the Xbox or the PlayStation 4, that it's got a CD, Blu-ray, but yet again, here's Mortal Kombat 11 on this, like a like an SD card. You know, it blows my mind on so many levels that Nintendo was able to do that. But also, Breath of the Wild, a great game, can't deny that. And like I said, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, great game. And I still haven't had I wasn't able to get Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe, or Super Mario Brothers U, whatever it's called, Deluxe, or Super Mario Odyssey, which I didn't get because I'm really, really interested in playing that. When it usually comes to like Mario games, whenever I get a new Nintendo console, I always try to pick one up, but unfortunately I haven't been able to because money situation and that sort of thing. Plus, I haven't really had time to go out because of like work and that sort of thing. And now we're on to the grand finale, and if you know me, if you're friends with me, if you follow me on social media, then you already know what my favorite series of all time is. And that, of course, is Resident Evil. I've been a fan of Resident Evil ever since '96, I believe it was. So that's what, like 24 years, something like that. And it started off with this one, long box and all. And I remember playing that over someone's house. I can't remember how long ago it was, but it basically, like, at first I hated it, to tell you the truth, but then we got the director's cut, and then when we got that, then I started playing it, and still like, where the fuck do I go? What the fuck do I do? I still didn't know what to do, and I still didn't know where to go, but my brother's best friend at the time was also a huge Resident Evil fan, so therefore he knew, because he beat the game before. And then obviously next in the chapter was Resident Evil 2, which gave me my first jump scare in a video game. So, and again, my brother's best friend at the time, he knew where to go, what to do, what items you needed, and what was the best weapons to use against bosses. So, thanks to him is when I was able to actually learn and just get better at the game. And then Resident Evil 3 came out, and I didn't own it at first, rented it, and got actually pretty far in the game when I rented it. And then one Christmas I got it, and then after that just beat it like right off the bat. And then introduced to the Mercenaries mode, and that was a lot of fun. That was actually like a good kind of like a good challenge for me to see who I can do the Mercenaries the best with, how fast I can do it, what's the grade I can get. Also, fun little fact, this is not the official case that comes with it. I actually had this custom made because I had my friend gave me this game with a Hollywood Video rental case, so I had to find a custom case for it, and luckily it's got the same thing. The only thing is it doesn't have the instruction manual, which I'm fine with that, but you know what? I think it's really cool, especially putting a PS3 case and it's only PlayStation. So then I haven't played Survivor. I haven't played Survivor until recently. And then I don't remember what was introduced first, whether it was Code Veronica or Code Veronica X, but played this, and still to this day, not really a fan. It just doesn't. I don't get it. It's just way too tough in my opinion. But you know, I like challenges, but that's just like stupid challenge, almost like NES hard. So then we go to the Resident Evil 4, which I have. Oh, I thought I had more copies of this. No, I actually have this copy, and I have the PlayStation 4 version. And surprisingly, I have actually never opened this. I mean, this particular copy. I never opened it, just until then, because I had it for the GameCube, and then I sold that. I don't remember why, but whatever, you know. So Resident Evil 4, I remember getting that on Christmas in 2005. I want to say, I think it was 2005. I got that for Christmas, and then I was really skeptical at first about playing it, and surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. I actually think it's one of the best Resident Evil games out there, if not one of the best games that has ever been made. It's got the survival horror and it's got the action, but it doesn't like it flows well. It doesn't kind of like one doesn't take over for the other. Resident Evil 5 I actually did not play until I was getting out of the military. So I played Resident Evil 5, and I have destroyed the game completely in its entirety. And you know what? It's actually a good game in my opinion. A lot better on co-op, granted, but it's still a good game. Like it does progress the story, but it goes more towards the action. And Chris punching a boulder is incredibly stupid. I can't deny that. Then we got what was the next game I played? Which was the Revelations collection for the Switch. Resident Evil 6. Mediocre. Definitely not the greatest, and it's cheap as hell. Like, there's a lot of cheap things that are in the game. Can't deny that. And then the Revelations series, while I do like them, is like I haven't beaten Revelations 1 yet, because it's one of those games to me that just like it seems to just go on and on and on. Like it's kind of like, all right, what else? What's next? Like, really, we're still going with this. We're still going with this. I didn't ever finish Revelations. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but for me, it just felt like it was dragging. Revelations 2 I beat, and I only got the bad ending. I didn't get the good ending. Now, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, this I was actually really surprised with, even playing the demo, but I'm actually really glad that, you know, Capcom decided they wanted to go back to the survival horror roots, and this, to me, is probably one of the better survival horror games that has come out recently. And you know what? I actually like really approve of it, because it was also Resident Evil games nowadays have become like those, not like scary, it's more like, what the fuck am I looking at? So, but Resident Evil Biohazard was definitely the ones that I'd say was one of those what the fuck, and it still had that scary moments to it. Mercenaries 3D, I never played, surprisingly. Operation Raccoon City is so fucking stupid. Like, yes, I understand. It's a bad game, but the only reason I have it is because this way I have it in my collection. Darkside Chronicles and the Umbrella Chronicles they're on-rail shooters, whatever. The Outbreak games, it's really not that fun to play, especially when you don't have an online connection, especially through a PS2. Then I have the 1.5, which I never played. I can't play it because I don't have a modded PS1. Then I have the Resident Evil remakes, Resident Evil Zero, the Origin Collection, and Survivor. Survivor, I think, was the one game that personally I like. It's a really bad game. I'm well aware it's a really bad game, and it's ridiculously easy, to tell you the truth. And those just don't go well when it comes to Resident Evil. But you know what? It has like a special place. I don't know why. It's. I guess it's because it's so bad. It's good in my opinion. But yeah, it gets shit on. It deserves it. But I like it. So that is my collection, my retrospect on my video game experience, and also a little bit of tips for collecting video games if you want to get into it, or if you already are into it and you just need a little help on where to go and what to look for, that sort of thing. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.